If your doctor or therapist told you to start with core exercises for your lumbar disc herniation, that's a mistake, and this might be the most important thing you hear today. Most people don't realize that certain core workouts can actually make a disc injury worse by increasing pressure on the disc and irritating the nerves even more. That means more pain, more numbness, and more flare-up, even though you're doing what you were told by your physiotherapist or doctor. In this video, I'll show you why starting standard core strengthening advice fails for disc herniations, and what to do instead to actually relieve disc pressure, calm the nerve pain, and start healing the right way. And if you stay to the end, I'll show you one of the most effective non-surgical treatment methods with a success rate of over 90% for treating lumbar disc bulges and herniations. Keep watching. Hi, I'm Dr. John Zielonka, a neurofunctional chiropractor in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, and past director of rehabilitation at the Ottawa Sports Science Centre. If you've been told that strengthening your core is the key to healing your disc herniation, you're not alone. This is one of the most common recommendations patients receive, especially after an MRI. Most doctors and physiotherapists recommend core strengthening for a simple reason: they're trying to stabilize your spine. The logic is sound. If your core is stronger, it can help offload pressure from your lumbar discs. It can reduce strain on your back and give you more long-term protection against re-injury. So you're told to do planks and bird dogs and bridges, or maybe some deep abdominal work to help support the spine from the inside out. But here's what they're not telling you. What sounds like smart advice on paper can actually make things worse in real life, especially when you're in pain right now. The truth is, this approach doesn't take into account where you are in the healing process. It assumes you're ready to activate and load your core, but if your disc is inflamed or herniated and your spinal nerve is irritated, most of those exercises become nearly impossible or flat out dangerous. And here's the worst part: even when the pain gets worse, most patients blame themselves, not the protocol. They think they're doing something wrong, when in reality, the problem is starting in the wrong place. Now, here's where things often go wrong, and it's not your fault. Most people are given advice that doesn't line up with where they are in the healing process of a herniated disc. Quite simply, you don't put more pressure on something that already has too much pressure on it. One of the biggest mistakes in early disc herniation rehab is assuming the patient is ready for movement, especially core engagement. The problem is, when your disc is herniated or bulging, there's already pressure on the spinal nerve. That pressure causes inflammation, pain, and sensitivity. Now add core activation to the mix, like a plank or a bird dog, and you increase internal spinal pressure even more. It's like trying to lift a heavy box while your back is already inflamed. The added strain overwhelms the disc and makes everything worse. This is why so many patients feel defeated. They're trying to do the right thing, but every attempt at movement causes flare-ups or worse, setbacks. It's not about being weak. It's not about doing it wrong. It's simply that the timing is off. You need the appropriate exercise at the appropriate time. You can't stabilize a spine that's still inflamed, and pushing through the pain doesn't make you stronger. It delays your recovery. When the nerve is irritated and inflamed, even activating your deep core can trigger more pain, more stiffness, and even leg symptoms like sciatica. And that's why, in my experience, and I've dealt with some of the world's very best athletes, core exercises come later, not first. Before you can strengthen, you need to decompress and calm the nerves. Let me show you what works better. Most patients I know with lumbar disc herniations are still in significant pain when they walk through the door. Their back is inflamed, the disc is pressing on the nerve, and even light movement causes irritation. So the idea of starting with planks or bridges just doesn't make sense clinically. In fact, starting with core exercises too soon often makes the situation worse. Patients flare up, their leg pain increases, and they feel discouraged because what they were told to do just isn't working. What's missing here is sequence. Before you stabilize the spine with exercise, you need to relieve the pressure on the disc and calm the irritation on the nerve. If you skip that step, nothing else works. So let's think about what's actually happening here. When you have a disc herniation or a disc bulge, so here you've got vertebrae, disc vertebrae, what you have is you have a tremendous amount of pressure. See that disc bulging out? And when that disc bulges out, it's going to put pressure on that nerve exiting the spine. That's going to create inflammation. You're not going to put more pressure on, again, as you said before, something that already has too much pressure on it. You also can't strengthen through that inflammation. Why? Because inflammation triggers pain, and pain inhibits muscle activation. You have to fix the underlying problem before you can build around it. That's why the first goal should be to reduce the disc pressure that's irritating the nerve and driving the symptoms in the first place. So let's talk about what actually works. There are two treatment methods that I use to help relieve that nerve pressure and start the healing process before introducing any type of core exercise or rehabilitation. If you're dealing with a disc herniation, the first step is not to strengthen the spine, but to decompress it. You want to take that pressure off that nerve. You want to decompress that disc. The goal is to relieve pressure on the disc, reduce inflammation around the nerve, and create space for healing. This is where clinical experience and proven results really matter. In my practice, we use two non-surgical methods that are highly effective for relieving disc pressure and nerve irritation in the lower back. Number one are chiropractic adjustments. We always start with chiropractic adjustments when appropriate. The goal is to restore normal joint motion, improve spinal alignment, and reduce mechanical stress in the lumbar spine. When the spine moves better, it reduces pressure points and allows the nervous system to function more efficiently. For many patients, adjustments alone provide significant relief and help set the stage for more advanced care. But keep in mind, different chiropractors adjust differently. This is a mistake made by some where they think all chiropractic is the same. That's like saying I went on a diet and I tried food. In my clinic, we do something very specialized known as neurofunctional chiropractic, where the goal is to restore neurological function to get at all the underlying causes of the problem. That's why the best athletes in the world all get regular chiropractic care. But again, different chiropractors do this differently. You want an adjustment that's going to take pressure off that disc, off that nerve, restore function back to the way that it should be. Number two is something called non-surgical robotic laser spinal decompression. This is where things get really powerful. One of the most effective treatments we use is a system called non-surgical robotic laser spinal decompression. What makes it unique is that it combines two proven therapies at the exact same time. The spinal decompression gently pulls the vertebrae apart, reducing pressure on that disc, allowing it to tract to rehydrate. At the exact same time, Class 4 robotic laser is applied to the area to reduce inflammation, relax muscles, stimulate cellular repair, and speed up healing. The combination works together to calm the nerve, reduce pain, and give the disc the environment it needs to heal. The dual approach is why we consistently see over a 90% success rate with this method in our clinic. When you decompress the disc and stimulate healing at the same time, you're not just managing symptoms, you're actually helping the injured disc recover. Think about it. If there's pressure on that disc and pressure on that nerve, disc is dehydrated, what on earth makes more sense than to take the pressure off the disc, the pressure off the nerve, and rehydrate the disc? So now that we've covered how to relieve pressure on the disc and calm the nerve, let's bring it all together and talk about what this means for your recovery and how to move forward with confidence. If you've been struggling with a lumbar disc herniation or a disc bulge and you've been told to just strengthen your core, it's understandable if you're frustrated, especially if the pain hasn't improved or has even gotten worse. What this video should show you is that your body needs more than just muscle activation. It needs decompression, healing, and space to recover. Only then does it make sense to begin rebuilding strength around the spine. That's why I never recommend starting with core work first. It's not that core strengthening isn't important, it certainly is, but it has to come at the right time in the right sequence. Think of how many people are suffering with disc herniations, with chronic back pain, and their friends and family just say, oh, go just strengthen that core. And you're made to feel like it's your fault or that you're lazy or that you're weak. You're not. It's not your fault. You're getting, I don't want to say bad advice, but you're getting advice out of sequence. So when you begin by relieving nerve pressure through chiropractic adjustments and non-surgical robotic laser spinal decompression, you create the right foundation for the recovery. Take the pressure off the disc, deal with the disc herniation first, then you stabilize and strengthen. Okay? Then and only then does it make sense to gradually introduce core stability work without flaring up the disc again. You don't have to stay stuck in pain. You just need a better starting point and a plan that actually fits where you are right now. If you're dealing with a lumbar disc herniation, I want you to know there's a way to do this right. You're not alone and you're not out of options. I hope this video helped point you in the right direction and gave you a clearer path forward. If you learned something new or found this helpful, give the video a like, share it with someone who needs to hear this, and leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your experience. And be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss more videos like this, where we break down real solutions that actually help people feel better and heal properly. Finally, if you want to see how spinal adjustments and non-surgical robotic laser spinal decompression fit into a comprehensive 7-step treatment protocol that we use in our office, go watch this next video. It's called L4, L5, Disc Bulge, 7-step non-surgical treatment method, and it's a must-see if you're serious about recovery.